All right, welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about this virus. And while I'm here, we're going to be talking about a few other things that are coming up just before Christmas. Now, I don't expect a lot of people to be here today for this live video because most people have holidays and families to do. But for those of you that are a little bit curious, we're going to discuss Omicron. I wish I could get the name right. Okay, so we all been calling this COVID, but this Omicron or Cromnanon or whatever you want to call it, man. So here's what we found out. I don't want to sensationalize anything, so we're just going to be talking about the effect of that for 2022 and inclusion of low-income housing, rents, and Section 8. Okay, so as it stands now, as of today, the White House CDC announced that it's the dominant strain in the U.S. No surprise there. We expected that. What's unusual about this virus and is the fact that what would have taken about 6 months to become really spread around the U.S. This stuff doubles every day. So it is. It's unusually contagious, and a part of the reason it's contagious is my understanding, and from what I've read, is it appears that if you had your first one or two shots, I realize some of those shots you can get are just one or one and two. That this particular strain is seems to be impervious to it, so you get a lighter version of it. Even those people that appear to be getting boosters seem to be somewhat affected by it. Hey, Monette Jenkins, how are you doing? Today we're just talking a little bit about the Omicron and 2022. So, I think that in many respects, it's going to affect people that probably have serious physical, health conditions and so on. I also think probably we're coming to the realization that the common cold, the flu, and then I think that probably for the rest of history, we're going to have this around. And probably like the common cold, there probably won't ever really be a great treatment for it, but I'll be glad when things calm down. So as it stands right now, the numbers are pretty spiking pretty good. I was looking look at that. So now here's where my concerns are. It's not this virus; it's what it does to the country and businesses. And even though Mr. Biden or President Biden has been talking about this, we've already seen the consequences of what happens specifically with those of you that are low income, fixed income, rents, the housing market, and so on. And my greatest fear with this stuff is really starting to become a reality. So I don't want anybody to freak out or to misunderstand what I'm telling you, but I think that we're going to enter 2022 with a high infection rate. It's already present and it's unfolding. As we know, 40% of the country is not vaccinated, and nor do they care to be. So there's not much you can do about that. And most people probably will just survive ordinary symptoms and just get past it. I don't really want it. I've had my own taste of this. I prefer not to. So please don't breathe on me. But I think that this is going to cause a whirlwind of problems for us. Those of you that are seeking housing vouchers and housing authorities and those struggling with jobs, I think this is going to have an effect on this country. And I think that 2022, we're going to be off to a fiery start between January and March because this stuff just seems to affect everything. And then there's a lot of these vaccines don't seem to do anything to counter it. Now, the information I get from CDC, the White House, and so on. And so we know not to trust the news, right? Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, you know never to read everything you hear. So I think we'll just see how it plays out. But again, my concern isn't the virus; it's the effect it has. Business owners may not want to open, and a lot of people may again lose a lot of jobs, and a lot of things are going to happen. Okay, and at the current pace that it's going, to give you a good picture of this, what it took 6 weeks of with COVID-19, this little guy here only the Omicron only takes I'm sorry 1 to 2 weeks. So what happens in 1 to 2 weeks with this particular new virus took up to 6 months with the other one. This thing is like it spreads real rapidly. However, it's not like most diseases. When something is extremely contagious, it's usually not very deadly. So, I'm not expecting a big fallout, but I think it's going to have a major impact on housing. and people that are seeking low income housing and market rates. And I think we're going to have a lot of problems for the beginning of 2022. It's my hope that we don't, but I'm already starting to see some issues come up with this. And if it just look, we've only had this around 30 days. It's already got to the US. UK is shutting parts of this country, this nation down, and it's already become the dominant strain in a magnitude that's so fast in this country that it's obscene. And we haven't even cranked up for Christmas yet. So do I believe that what I thought about this stuff a month prior when I made the first video? I think there are going to be some serious consequences for me and my clients when it comes to housing. And I think that those consequences will start somewhere up in January. And I think the possibility that it may last 3 to 6 months, and we'll see what happens after that. Are we going to have a repeat of 2020 in March? No, I don't think so, but you never know. It depends on how people handle it. It depends on how businesses handle this. It depends on whether or not a lot of things that I don't understand about our economy because I'm not an economist. So, but I do think that from the perspective of what I do, I think I should urge all to be able to understand if you're seeking low income housing, Section 8 housing, all that, there's going to be we're going to see a lot of problems with that. I have that consensus, and I was hoping this would just blow over. And so I'll be looking at this over time between now and January to see what happens. But as it stands, I think the highest recorded infection rate of this stuff with COVID, the regular one, was around 300,000 people. We may be seeing infection rates close to 1 million a day, depending on how many people. And again, it's not about the virus, but it's just going to cause a whole lot of issues with you guys trying to deal with housing authorities and vouchers and other nonprofits and people not wanting to open up these housing authorities and other things. And then the funding, we evaporated all that funding. And so we can't afford this nation to go through another 8 million, 40 million evictions. We go through that again, it'll collapse the housing market. That just simply, there's not enough now for Section 8 low-income housing and so on for those that are retired and those of you that have already lost your housing. If we go through a repeat episode the first 6 months of 2022, it will collapse this so badly that I probably will have not much hope of being able to get people anything very quickly. That is unless you want to move to the mountains of Montana. In other news, to go on to some brighter news, as most of you know, I'm moving out there to Arkansas, and I've been bringing that up in several videos. Today, I talked with a real estate agent, and I bought another property. Got a good deal on it, too. It's got a 1,700 square foot home on it, and it's on a gigantic lot and so on. I've been looking at the concept of staying in an RV with a bunch of cats, and I think maybe it'd be more appropriate to stay at a property down the road while we try to build up the house. So I'm going to be showing you some pictures. I got a great deal at auction, with that. Sometimes these houses go for $1,000. You guys are out here struggling to get vouchers. Look, this house I bought, the guy that I'm buying it for, he got it at auction, 1,700 square foot home for $1,185. Clearly, I have to pay 9 times as much, but it's still a laughable joke. When's the last time you bought a 1,700 square foot home for just over $10,000 on a quarter acre at best? Okay, so yeah, bought that. I'm waiting on the paperwork this afternoon. We'll fix it up. I'll quarantine. Now, look, this is not going to be some pristine home. Okay, if you imagine I'm living in some kind of palace in Arkansas, you're out your mind. This is out in the country. This is a 1950s home fixer-upper. Probably got mint green tiles and, hot pink tiles. That stuff from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It's going to be ugly as sin. You know what I'm saying? So we already know that. No central air. I get that. So me and the cats, we're going to quarantine the largest room in the house, the living room, try to get the funky out of there, and put up new sheetrock, carpet, and so on. So because the problem I was running into with buying that forest and trying to put the trailer out there is it requires an immense number of things all at once. Drilling a well, cutting a driveway, cutting down trees, trying to get everything so flipping off the grid that I could be stuck trying to organize that for 6 months while we're living in some cramped little deal. So yeah, I went and bought a home, 1,700 square foot home, 50s home. out in the country on a quarter-acre lot with a brush hog it. And so I'm going to show you all the pictures. Y'all going to laugh when you see it. So, but see, that was part of the reason why I chose Arkansas. Look, those people in Arkansas, they don't have the best employment. The houses are cheap. Look, when's the last time you could buy a whole flipping house for a couple of grand? That's Arkansas for you. Used to be Mississippi was that way. So, anyways, no offense. I love Arkansas, but I did choose it for a reason because you really can get land and property and even homes for a song and a dance out there. They're not the best, but look, for a lot of you guys that are struggling on Social Security and doing this voucher bit, you could have easily auctioned and bid on a home. Yeah, it's a piece of junk, but you know what? You use your money to fix that up. You see my point? So me and kiddies are going to move into the shack. And I didn't want it 1,700 square foot. It was the nicer of all the options that were available at that price line. I wanted something I could easily fix up at least part of it, quarantine the rest of the house because I don't want to use it, and then just survive that while we build in our forest. I know. So, yeah. Story always evolves with me. So, I'll show you all the deed for the land when that comes in about a week. And then we'll take a look at the deed for this house and all that and pictures and that. And then we'll have lots to talk about when it comes to that. Why the hell am I moving out to the Ozarks and all that? So, let's get on back to Section 8 now that I've given you all the clever story about my life in Arkansas. And by the way, I'm in Houston, Texas right now. So, we got the Omicron. We already expected that. It's highly contagious. 40% of the country is probably going to get it. Lots of spikes, lots of news, whatever. The thing is, people are people. Businesses don't have to open. They don't want to. And people don't do. Everybody's different ideas about how they want to handle this. But I know one thing. We're already on a strained system with Section 8 housing, getting vouchers, low-income housing, an overheated market, high rents, impossible to use a voucher. And then we're going to add this into the mix for 2022. When half the nation falls sick with which really is, I believe, it's just a little bit more powerful, an equivalent to the flu, unless you have serious health issues. And so this is going to make for a fine 2020. I was really hoping we could roll out the red rug and just stop spending money. Other thing is, I believe this current president, Mr. Biden, is going to be sending everybody COVID tests. Some are going to go and probably burn it in their lawn. Others are going to take it and test themselves. We're always these last 5 years have been interesting because we've become so divided as a country. It's hardly recognizable anymore, but it is what it is. So let's take a look at some of these comments. And then I'm going to give a few warnings about a situation I had with a particular person that commented and emailed in a prior video and discuss why that was so inappropriate on retrospect, okay? So, Monique Jenkins, hello. By the way, this is a live video. You can chat with me. It's still live as of 4:16 p.m., December 21st. If you catch me 2 hours later from now, it'll be a dead video, but you can still read the old comments. I believe you can comment if you're on a laptop, a desktop, possibly a tablet, and I'm not sure about phones. Money Jigga says, I hope I can fly to Houston before the effects the airlines and everything. Well, you already know that's going down for sure. And boy, we mixed Turkey Day and Christmas right at the height of this. So this ought to be we're going to get a nice big spike right after Christmas for sure. Plus, we have New Year's in the roll. So I couldn't think of a worse time for this damn thing to hit. Why couldn't it have come visit the U.S. while things were boring? It hits right during 3 major holidays, and people, they got no sense, so we're all going to get together 1 inch, blow it all on everybody, and then everybody's going to have the Omicron cold. I don't know if it's, I truly don't know how serious it is. Nobody's really going to know till they get more results behind it. So right now, it's just an Omicron cold for me. So anyways, I hope Mona Jenkins, you're going to be all right. Mary Smith, do you envision a time when being vaxxed or not vaxxed affects a rent situation? Vaccinations have nothing to do with the rent situation. What has to do with that is when jobs start closing, when they stop issuing payrolls, when housing authority employees decide to not come to work anymore, and when people quit. So I think that it's a clear-cut case of consequences. Just like when you get hit by a car, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose your life. You can do that later at the ER when you're being treated, okay? So, yeah, we did. As a matter of fact, Mary Smith, let me explain another example. We had COVID-19. Remember when that happened? So we didn't think there were going to be consequences, but yet 40 million people ended up being evicted. they thought, oh, well, it's not a big problem. It's a Democrat, it's a Republican or a Democrat problem. Well, here's the deal. 50-50 my clients, okay, half of each side of that party all ended up on a sidewalk, homeless. So I guess, Mary Smith, that does answer your question. All right. Oh, by the way, thank you, Mary Smith, for saying congratulations on your extended property. Yes. Well, just to be clear, guys, that is my Arkansas shack. All right, guys. It's not a brick home. It's not a Beauty and the Beast. It's a shack. And I wasn't going to spend $100,000 on that. So it's just something simple out there. LaQuinta Pierce, wow, and congratulations, thank you, Deborah Alderman. Happy for you. I hope we're all going to be happy, but you got to realize, guys, I've never seen this house. I've never been in it. For all I know, there were 20 people smoking meth in it, and it could be horrifying. It could have no floors in it. Every window could be broke out. I only have one picture of it. I've never been in it. I do know there's no liens, holes, judgments, or back taxes, but other than that, it could be a complete nightmare when I get there. I might have just bought a shack on a big chunk of land, and it's in terrible condition. I don't know what we're going to face. We'll know when I get there. I'll send y'all a video. God, that was probably a big mistake. Other than that, Monet Jinga goes on, congratulations, Jay. Mary Smith, what's the weather like? Well, the weather right now in Houston is crispy cool. We only get a few days. So we have summer, 11 months and 28 days. We do get one day of Christmas. So yeah, we don't get much out here. It's hot as hell. And then when we have an irregularity, when climate change hits, we have a winter. We don't really get winter. Winter's a joke in Texas. Carla B, it says, what? Well, what back to you, Carla B? Let me know. By the way, guys, happy holidays. I think we're all going to be celebrating that in some way or another. Some of us will have gifts, some of us will not. Some of us will have family, and others will be old, retired, with nobody left. So it's important that if somebody's out there that's old and lonely, try to go out there, warm their spirit up, because everybody needs that. Christmas is not about flipping Santa Claus and the Macy sale, okay? It's about people, family, friends, and connections, okay? When you start focusing on the money and the monetary and the shopping and Black Friday, that is the other part of the stuff that was invented. All right, moving on. LaQuinta Pierce, nah, you have a home. Any home is a great thing. Very true. Very true. But out of respect for my own thinking, I'm just going to call it a shack for now, because we really don't know. So it's a piece of land with a shack, and we'll see if that shack's worth livable. When I leave there, I'm going to put it back on the market. If y'all live in Arkansas, you're welcome to buy it. Nice chunk of land, 1,700 square feet. That's a lot to air condition and heat. Look, this house here that I'm in, this is only about 1,500. Okay, 2 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 2 floors. 1,700 is a lot. It's really deceptively big. Next up, I'm the one who knocked. So we got an interesting name for YouTube today. So I'm the one who knocked. That's going to be the curious name of the day. I signed up September 28th this year to get my voucher, and I get my voucher tomorrow. Congratulations. Somebody during the pandemic's getting a voucher. That's always an exciting thing when you get one of those. Now the second battle you face is getting out there, utilizing that voucher. And I want to inform you, if you get a voucher, you got to offer one, you should react quickly. You can get an extension. Housing authorities will flat ball-faced lie in your face. Oh, we don't do extensions. They'll even give you a little letter saying, you got 90 days, you mess it up, we're not doing nothing. They're wrong about that. You will get that extension, but under one reason. You better stop by the local ER and have a medical reason, okay? Medical reasons are a great way to be exclusionary and get them to get the extension. If you don't have a medical reason, then they really don't have any reason to consider it. So don't ever buy the first story they try to sell you. You can always get an extension regardless of what they're preaching on the phone line. Unless they can emphatically prove it on paperwork, it isn't real. Mary Smith, congratulations. Who's Knox? Ida Samuels, hello. I hope everyone's doing well. We hope you're doing well too, Ida. Welcome to the channel and happy holidays. Mary Smith said, thanks for the clarification. I do that a lot, don't I, Mary? That's just how I am. I go on a tear, and it is what it is. Guys, one thing y'all got to learn about me is don't take it too personal. with me. I get on a tear when I'm answering questions. Some of you have been around a while. I know you've been around here, Mary Smith, for quite a while. So it's never intended to be rude. I just like to make examples so everybody has a better clarification. Okay, so that's just part of my personality. Um, let's talk about Jay Steen. Oh, Merry Christmas! Well, Merry Christmas to you, man. So everybody's got their Christmas plans this year. But, guys, I just want to let you know for 2022, we're going to start making new videos. As I mentioned about that, the videos will be tailored to the specific cities. I'm going to address as many of the new cities as possible. We will also have the 2020 new HUD manual. So everything that I've taught y'all through 2021, I want y'all to take all that information and then I want you to light it on fire and throw it in your yard. It'll be useless. Why does that happen? Well, that's what makes Section 8 vouchers and housing systems so fucking convoluted. Every year I have to relearn everything. They change the policies, the procedures, everything. New funding, new money, new presidents, all those things change it. So everything that we just learned this year, I might as well go ahead and delete 100 videos and then we start again like we do every year. So I'll have to read all the new legislation if they've added anything to Title 22, and then all those operational manuals around the country for COC, continuum of care, rapid rehousing, permanent supportive housing, Section 202, Section 811, all of it is going to get a fresh paint job, and we're going to have to go through all that junk again. Then we're going to start back with the disability, senior housing, and so on. So we're going to repeat the whole pony show all over again. I got to tell you, after 7-8 years of this, it doesn't get old having to redo the same things, But just as I'm running out of material, I'm always thankful that we're just a few days from the new year. So that way, what's old is new again, Because I got to tell you, after 400 videos, you do truly immensely run out of things to talk about when it comes to this. I'm eager just to show y'all me building a house so we can just talk about something a little bit different, Lady Leo, hello, welcome back. Lady Leo's been around this channel for quite a while. Mayor Smith, I don't think you were rude. I was glad to get the vax clarification. Hey guys, remember now, I'm not a doctor and attorney. I certainly don't speak to the United States government, and I don't want to sell anybody sensationalism. I'm just telling you how I feel about how this Omicron virus might affect Section 8. We'll see it as it happens. I am no better than the weatherman. And some of the information I'm getting has obviously been published on the news, and we know the one. Look, the news is a lot like the weather, man. People say all kinds of crazy shit on the news. You got to fact check everything these days, okay? So, Bean Tom, been around for a minute. Good guy. How's it going, brother? I want to mention somebody I posted. Now, I don't know if you know this about my channel, but when you click on my photo, it'll take you to the main YouTube page. And there, if you go down below all the information in the banner, you'll see a community tab. In that tab, I give y'all information and updates about everything. It's kind of like a Facebook almost. You can put in photos, videos, and other things. And so I want to talk about a special person out in LA. Okay. So I got to pull it up. It's been a minute since I posted it, about a couple of days. So just bear with me. Okay. So there's two stories that are very interesting. And then a third I'd like to tell you all about. So there was Shirley Raines. She brings hope, beauty to men and women of Los Angeles Skid Row. This is a lady that has gone, and I think for about 6 to 7 years, Shirley Raines has gone out there and given a little bit of hope and love to the people that are out in Skid Row. Look, there's homeless, there's serious homeless, there's hardcore homeless, and then there's Skid Row. Most of you have never experienced that. You've only seen it, driven by it. So I can appreciate anybody that would go out there in a war zone, really, to help those people. Not everybody that's in a tent on Skid Row is a crackhead and a fool, okay? Some people, look, the housing market is very nasty in California. And that's sometimes the only option. And sadly, a third of them are actually retirees that just simply worked all their life, even working for former housing authorities, the city, the county, and even the state, and they didn't budget well enough, and their Social Security checks ended up being garbage, and they ended up out there, okay? Not everybody. That's the thing. We have to change public perception. A lot of what Section 8 does serve, when you pay your tax dollars, just like you receive your Social Security check, that is a welfare fund. You pay it into Section 8 too, which is your housing system for those that need to utilize it, whether it be temporarily or a longer period of time. So yeah, it's a sticky situation, but I wanted to honor her because of that. Another story I want to tell you about is after those tornadoes. Now, most of us didn't give much thought to this. Yeah, it's interesting. Tornadoes hit up there in the Midwest. Well, look, in a town out there in Mayfield, they ended up 400 of 456 families. Okay, that's roughly 97%. So they wiped the whole town clean. All these people were low income, and they left them on the sidewalk. No American Red Cross, no charges left, nothing but sticks and branches. These people living on the sidewalk. Meanwhile, let's discuss this housing authority. Mayfield Housing Authority. Boy, I got to tell you. So they're sitting there quietly sipping coffee, sipping coffee with the new COVID funds to give them brand new computers and desktops and laptops, and sitting there quietly with the doors nailed shut and the phone sitting in the toilet, not doing jack shit for any of these people. Almost all of them are seniors. These are people that were never so much in the Section 8 system. So now they've lost everything with nowhere to go. Look, when you get at that age, you probably don't have a lot of family, okay? And so we have women and men and children, well, mostly older ladies, 70s, 80s, and 90s, that are living literally on the sidewalk with Zippo. Nowhere to go, no nothing. And in response from the housing authority, to be frank with you, I could think of what, I have to be careful what I say on YouTube, but a pack of matches and a local gas station. If you can't produce a result out there, then technically they shouldn't exist. There's lots of ways to resolve things in life. If the housing authority is the only thing that survived that tornado, then maybe it's time to clear the whole town. Because if you don't serve a legitimate fucking purpose and you're going to sit up in that housing authority and not do anything for people, then like I told you, you go to the next town. So I got to watch myself because I'm going to go off the deep end. This angers me. We're not talking about a bunch of people who made an unfortunate situation where they smoked crack for 20 years and needed a voucher and are in the system. We're talking about old people that didn't have enough to retire on. And so the housing authority does nothing. That's the remedy. That's the absolute remedy in reality. And I'm angered. And sadly, this is not the first time. I brought it up because it's already on national news, and these people need to be held accountable over that housing authority. So if they can't afford to cut a voucher, then maybe it's time to defund it all. That means fire everybody, sell everything in the building, and then have somebody bulldoze it. That way they can make straw hats out of it and hand them out to the homeless. Oh, man. So, yeah, I knew that was going to upset me. So beyond that, I'm going to get off that housing authority's jank about that, but we'll find out what happens later about that situation. But I got to tell you, it's a little bit heartbreaking seeing people that age, man, get nothing, just nothing, but pure hell in the middle of a winter, days before Christmas, and they're on the sidewalk. We have gotten to an unconscionable level in this country and how we deal with people. We really have. We've reached a breaking point, whether it's ethically or morally, where people just no longer give a damn about each other, and it's coming to a wild end. All right, so one other thing I'm going to be covering real quick. So, I had somebody send me a bizarre email, and you could tell this person probably suffered from mental illness, a lot of it, paranoia, schizophrenia, and so on. I deal with a lot of cases with people that have setbacks. And one of the reasons why a lot of people tend to like me is because I'm willing to deal with people that have extreme setbacks. But I got to tell you, this person's behavior was so appalling that I had to put him out my channel. And, they sent me a wild email accusing me of all kinds of crazy things. They even said my cats were fake, despite making 400 videos of, and cats jumping around in a lot of these videos. I mean, the level of delusion. So I asked the person if they would get a psychiatric visit. And so we'll just name that person Koto, Koto. And I hope if you're out there that you speak with your psychiatrist and you get some help, okay? And also, if you'd like, call the suicide prevention line because I don't want you to make any unreasonable decisions. But sending out nasty little emails and causing chaos in chat, live chat, and all that, it shows an amplitude of a small toddler, like a child in your channel. And so, unfortunately, I'm going to have to block you from that as well if you come back to my channel. So, I don't like doing that to people. I can deal with a lot, but the lunacy of that email and that person was just beyond me. And it didn't so much bother me at the time. It wasn't until later when I got the message. I was like, good God, this person's really suffering. Maybe they need to touch them, Jesus to touch them, or Buddha or somebody to help them. But I can't have that kind of appalling behavior. So I'm going to let it loose. And again, that's a fictitious name. I have not named that person. In no way do I wish them ill. I'm just saying that you really do need some hospitalization and to consider your mental options. And when you get better, then maybe I can help you. Okay. Anyways, take a look at the comments rule. Mary Smith, I think you were rude as I was glad to get a vaccination. I didn't think you were rude. Okay, well, that's a strange thing about all of us as humans. Some people see me as rude, some don't. Some like me, some don't. That's all right. I'm glad that you didn't find me to be rude, so that's cool. Looking at any more comments? No more comments. So, guys, I think I want to manage expectations for 2022. We'll play it by ear, see how things go. I know a lot of cases are contingent right now, which means we're waiting till after Christmas to deal with. I've got a lot of cases. Plus, I want to make another announcement. Talking with the landlord from Chicago, as I mentioned, those 88 properties, we got another 3 weeks before a lot of those apartments have been revitalized. And so they look nice, new, smell fresh. So if you live close by in the Chicago, Illinois area, there will be some properties available, and I will be the one making the determination as to whether or not you would be able to pass the leasing requirements. And so I've made this ultra simple, and I've removed a lot of the barriers that normal landlords do. Second to that, we're doing a nationwide search right now in this particular landlord, and we're looking at SROs, which are single room occupancy. And so this might be a good option for people that are really up in age that don't require that much room. So you're looking at spaces that would be around 400 to 600 square feet. It'd kind of be like a studio, kitchen, and so on. But the nice part is, if we get the property being well managed, it won't be a situation where you're going to find any drug activity, any music bopping, and people getting stabbed, shot, craziness, turning tricks, all that. None of that's going to. As I've said, I'm very, very particular about that stuff. I welcome everybody as on an equal opportunity. I want this to be as good, clean, quiet. People can live their life, We don't want to set up guard gates and cameras and invade people's privacy and make them feel like an inmate. If you want that kind of living, you go out to the projects. So this isn't designed just to be enriching so you move on your life, give you some normalcy and the lowest rent possible. And so I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking at right now 257 properties all across the U.S. God, they've been picked over too. And I refuse to open up negotiations with this particular landlord on properties that I know are already in terrifying areas, that are in risky areas and all that. We're looking for good, clean, new, where everything's looking new and pristine. And one of the things I'm closely looking is to make sure that you're really, really close to all the city's resources. So I wish I could tell y'all where to be, but I'm doing the research through Christmas, and then we'll be making an offer of several, million on the property, and then I'll make an announcement, and we'll see. It has to be good for the landlord as well. He's got a pension for those of you that are veterans. He has expressed that desire immensely with me, that he'd like to work with those that are veterans and homeless and so on. So I think this is a great opportunity to get a property that's above the cut, all right, where a lot of consideration is going. And that's what happens when landlords actually go from doing it themselves to consulting with somebody that deals with clients every day. I know the goods and bads of this, so it's easier to not have to put, oh, yeah, they've got a voucher. Why don't we put 5 times the rent so they can never use it here? So that kind of shady shit that goes on with a lot of landlords, we're not doing that. So this would be extremely affordable no matter where we get it. So it's a big search, and I got to tell you, my eyes are crossed 4 hours of looking at that, and I'm going to be doing a little bit longer, and then we'll have an announcement what state that'll be in, and then hopefully if some of you are out there, that this will be utilized, especially if you're a senior and you're looking to get back on your feet. You're looking for clean, quiet, and no bullshit on the activity on the property. Just living your life. That might be good property. I just wish I could give you a straight answer right now, but I can't. Take a look at a few more comments here. LaQuinn Pierce. Nah, you have a home. Any home's great. So we went over that one. Ida Samuel says, hello, how's everybody doing? Well, Mary Smith, thanks for the clarification. Lady Leo says, hello. Mary Smith, I didn't think you were rude. Okay, so I'm reading the old ones again. Beantown. Robin Rusk, I had a retracted comment. That's all right. Jojo Girl, they left those poor elderly out in the streets, yet they are helping. Well, Jojo, that's the situation. The whole town got wiped. It got wiped, and so that's a sad deal. So a few of these comments have been retracted. I'm going to see. Now, I want to tune you guys into one thing. I don't remove comments. This chat, and YouTube's algorithm will blank out stuff. I have to unblank it. So I'm not sitting here clicking and removing comments, okay? So if you suffer from paranoia or other issues, it is not me doing that. So I'm going to see if I can unhide. Oh, goodness. I'm trying to unhide these comments. Okay, I'm going to have to look into it after the video. But Robin Rusk, I don't have control of why yours was blocked. And Jojo, your comment didn't appear to violate any terms of service. I don't know. I'm trying to see if I can fix it. So it doesn't give me an option to undo it. So you have to be careful what words you use, guys. Just to give a good example about words in live chat. YouTube's very aggressive in its algorithm. If you spell the word bar stool wrong, we all know what a bar stool is. You know, you have a bar stool at a bar, right? But if you separate it out and say bar and then stool, the interpretation by Google will be that you're talking about medical waste that comes out of your booty. All right. Because you said something, or if you talk about a body part, for instance, like if you misspell ear ring and you separate the two, ear and ring, then there could be an interpretation by YouTube's algorithm that you might be selling ear parts. Don't ask me why. I watch crazy things get blocked in chat. It's not me. Okay, guys? I don't have time to block and talk. All right, moving on from that. So I've enjoyed talking with y'all. We're going to see what's going to happen with the Omicron. I think that we were starting to come to the realization that this will be something that we may put in the trophy room as the permanent thing. So like the common cold and the flu, that we're just going to go spin through viruses, and I think that there's going to be an effect behind this. How serious, we don't know. The main concern I have is that what it's going to do to the market, and what I'm seeing in news and results and from CDC and so on indicates to me that, at least for those of you that are dealing with vouchers and Section 8, that we're going to have a very rough ride between January and summer. Okay, in another 2 weeks, in another 2 weeks to 4 weeks, I think I'll probably have the full scope of how good or bad things are going to go. For those of you that are seeking services, and then we'll talk about it again. But I think it's fair to try to manage expectations that we cannot go through another system where we put out half the nation as evicted and they lose homes and all this other crazy stuff. If we go through it again, the system has not supported what's already happened. The damage is out there. Another round of this will absolutely cause chaos with low-income housing. That being said, guys, before I go, I'm going to give you one more thing. Let's see here. Bear with me. If you look at the live comment right now, I'm going to put up my website and the consulting if you all want to book. As you know, I'm the owner of section8consulting.com. This pretty much everybody knows that, so I don't really need to make that announcement anymore. I'll pin it to the top of the comments. You can also check out my reputation, who I am, and so on Google. I always recommend people do their due diligence. I also recommend that you check reviews and make sure things are appropriate. You should always be making an informed decision whether you hire somebody to do anything for you, okay? Especially when it comes to your home and so on. I don't want you guys to make a bad decision. I do rank number 1 on YouTube. I rank number 1 on Google for Section 8 Consulting. There aren't that many of me, so I guess that ranking that high only means that there's not enough of us. This is tedious work. All right, guys. Our next video, I think, will probably be right after Christmas. I think that we're done with this for now. And those of you that need help, I'm out here for you. If not, some of the other alternatives are pretty rough. You can always call 211. Those people there usually give you a minute of casework, hang up on you, you'll get nothing. Call 311, same thing. Or you can call the housing authority, leave a message, and they'll call you next summer. There aren't a lot of options when it comes to this stuff, and it's a lot to deal with. And so we must prepare for the new year and new rules, new policies, new procedures, and new information that will be issued out to HUD and its field directors. And so a lot of what we've been learning throughout the year will all be washed and we start again. I'm not excited, but it is something, it is the consequence of what I do, that we have to relearn all this stuff again and then adapt to what it is. And just in case you guys don't know, prior to pandemic, for the last 2 years, things operated fairly normally. And I was a great remedy against the system as it stands. Things change where it used to change once every couple of years are now changing it months at a time. In other words, I'm having a hard time keeping up. Housing authorities are now doing openings, pop-ups. They'll open in January for 3 days, accept 5,000 people. They'll close and then reopen again. So I think the days of us seeing waiting lists closed for 15 and 20 years are coming to an end. Now housing authorities are being pressed to open several times a year, but they'll only open for a certain number of hours or a certain number of days. They fill up whatever they've got and they close again. So it's important that we're reacting quickly and we're not out there mowing the lawn, doing yoga or whatever, that we're getting out there trying to apply and get what we need in there. And the last thing I'm going to leave you with is, look, but pre-pandemic, before all of this drama, we had a fighting chance in most cities, to do what we need to do to get through the system and try to get vouchers and other housing at a reasonable level. We do not anymore. And I have to remind you guys, look, if you live in a major metropolitan area, that may be the last time you get to live there, because the bigger the city, the more intense the process is. And a lot of you guys, a lot of the country's migrating. A lot of people left New York. A lot of people left LA. Hell, they've overrun Nevada and other states, and they damn near closed down the system for low-income housing in those states because they couldn't handle the demand. 20% of all applicants out of the city of Chicago, the city of Chicago, rolled down to Nevada. Nobody knows why. It's such a huge spike of that happened, and then you had a big migration. So in other words, guys, if you can't get what you need in the city you're living in, you have to consider other options. If you wait, you could be waiting a lifetime. That's one thing I've been trying to tell a lot of you guys. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to put yourself in a home. Because if you're going to wait this out in your car or in the woods or in the trailer or a homeless shelter, I got to remind you, most whole shelters are not going to house you more than a month. And a lot of them won't even take you more than a couple of nights or a week. So it's important you never reach that point, because it only takes one incident to drag you through this whole process and make you homeless. It could take months, if not years, to get you off the street. In other words, you can arrive at homeless quickly, and then it takes a real long time to get you from that point back out of that, okay? How do I know that? Because I deal with homeless in nearly every state in the country. That being said, guys, I want you to enjoy your holidays, hug your friends and family, try to pet your pets for those of you who love pets and cats and dogs and birds, and then we'll see you after Christmas, okay? Happy holidays. Bye-bye.